Good morning. Welcome to San Diego State University's 2017 commencement ceremonies in the Fowler College of Business. I'm George Belch, Interim Dean of the college. I now ask that you please rise as the Army ROTC Color Guard presents the colors, and please remain standing for the singing of our national anthem, led by Mr. Tug Watson of the School of Theater, Television, and Film.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Commencement is a special time for us in the university. For the faculty, it marks the successful end of another academic year. For the students, it represents the end of the first part of their educational journey, the part that is structured around classes, tests, and papers, and in which a new life begins every 15 weeks. But it also represents the beginning, the commencement, as their journey of lifelong learners. You, our students, have come a long way since the day you first entered our campus community, but you have not made this trip alone. Your families and loved ones have nurtured and encouraged you in your efforts. This has supported you and enabled you to grow as individuals and to succeed as students. In celebrating your accomplishments, we celebrate theirs as well. So we welcome all of you to join us as we share this special occasion together, knowing that it has made each of us help make a unique contribution to making this day possible. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce the Provost and Senior Vice President of San Diego State University, Dr. Chikuka N. Mwaka.
Thank you, Dr. Belch. It is my pleasure to introduce the following colleagues and guests in attendance today. Please stand as I call your name and remain standing until all have been recognized. Please hold your applause until I have introduced everyone. Representing the university, Honorary Doctorate recipient Mr. Hal Brown. California State University trustee, Mr. Adam Day. Vice President for Business and Financial Affairs and Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Tom McCarron. Vice President for Student Affairs, Mr. Eric Rivera. Vice President for University Relations and Development, Ms. Mary Ruth Carlton. Vice President for Research and Dean of Graduate Affairs, Dr. Stephen Welter. Chair of the University Senate, Dr. Marcy Boba Michelle. Representing SDSU Alumni Association, Mr. Michael Colley. For the Fowler College of Business, Associate Dean for Academic Affairs, Dr. David Ely. Assistant Dean for Student Affairs and Director of Business Advising, Dr. Tita Gray. Director of Graduate Programs, Dr. Nikhil Varaya. Chair of the Department of General Business and Director of Undergraduate Programs, Dr. Gary Grodnitsky. Director of the Charles Lamden School of Accountancy, Dr. Damon Fleming. Chair of the Department of Management, Dr. Lawrence Ryan. Chair of the Department of Management Information Systems, Dr. Bruce Reinig. Chair of the Department of Marketing, Dr. Heather Honian. Chair of the Department of Finance, Dr. Mehdi Salahizadeh. President of Associated Students, Ms. Jamie Lee Miller. Associated Students Executive Vice President, Ms. Patty Massingale. Associated Students Vice President of Financial Affairs, Mr. Alexander Shapiro. Please join me in welcoming these individuals. You may be seated. And finally, it is my honor and pleasure to introduce the President of San Diego State University, Dr. Elliot Hirschman.
Well, good morning and welcome. It is a great pleasure to join our entire community in congratulating our graduates. I also wish to acknowledge the support of the many family members and friends who helped make today possible. Yeah. Congratulations also go to faculty and staff members who have taught and mentored our students. Let's recognize them. Now, to our graduates, today is a special milestone for you. Reaching this milestone has required substantial personal sacrifice. And in this process, you've grown personally, professionally, and intellectually. And that's why we are paying tribute to you today. Now, as you heard, in academic tradition, graduation is also referred to as commencement. Thus, today is a beginning as well as an ending. Today, you are joining a proud tradition of San Diego State University alumni. That tradition is first and foremost one of leadership and service. Now, our alumni serve our region and our nation by creating and building businesses, teaching the next generation, making scientific and creative contributions, advancing professions, and serving our government and our communities. And in every one of these fields, our alumni are entrepreneurs, innovators, and leaders. And now, as our society faces some very significant challenges, it's your turn to lead and to serve. But we are certain that the hard work, perseverance, and intelligence that have helped you succeed here will ensure not just your future success, but that of our entire society. Congratulations, graduates. And it's now my pleasure to present the Chair of the University Senate, Dr. Marcy Bober-Michel.
My husband was drafted more than 40 years ago into the Army. At that moment, he once told me, he thought it was the end of his life. But it turned out to be one of the best experiences ever. It made him a man of integrity, devoted to his country, and committed to public service and social justice. So I'm honored to ask all of you to recognize the San Diego State University students who have put their education on hold in order to serve in the armed forces. We also want to thank the veterans who are here today for their service to our nation. We thank you and appreciate your sacrifice, and we ask that all connected with the armed forces please stand to be recognized. Thank you. It's also fitting to remember our fellow faculty and students who we lost this past year. Their names appear in the commencement program. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you very much.
We now take time in these proceedings to honor an individual who, by a life of service and excellence, has exemplified the goals of the university, its faculty, its students, and its staff. In the 120-year history of the university, only 43 such individuals have been similarly recognized. The practice of awarding honorary degrees, today the Doctor of Humane Letters, is a custom that can be traced back to the beginnings of academic institutions and is the highest honor that such an institution can bestow. May I ask our honoree, Mr. Harold Brown, to please join us at the podium. Mr. President, may I present Mr. Harold Brown, honoree for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters. California State University trustee, Mr. Adam Day, will now share with everyone why we are bestowing this honor on Mr. Brown.
Good morning and welcome. Welcome graduates, family and friends, and faculty and staff. On behalf of Governor Brown and all of my colleagues on the Board of Trustees, it is truly an honor and privilege to take part in today's special ceremony. In the world of higher education, there is no more prestigious award than the granting of an honorary degree. This is not something for which you can apply. You do not get to nominate yourself. In fact, you will never know you were nominated until our board makes a determination confidentially. The review process is complex, lengthy, and rigorous. A nominee and their qualifications are challenged and reviewed multiple times, both at the campus with review by the Faculty Senate and by the Chancellor's Office. It is then further reviewed by a committee of trustees and ultimately the full board. To even be considered, the trustees' criteria are very stringent. First, to recognize inspirational character, excellence, and extraordinary achievement in significant areas of human endeavor that reflect the objectives and ideals of the California State University. Second, to honor meritorious and outstanding service to the California State University collectively or to individual campuses, to the state of California, to the United States of America, or to humanity at large. And third, to recognize individuals whose lives, conduct, and significant achievements serve as examples of the California State University's aspirations for its diverse student body. In short, we are extremely selective as we choose the best of the best amongst our midst. And it is only fitting that we honor one such individual today. I would now like to read the citation that accompanies the honorary degree. Harold K. Brown, the first African-American administrator at San Diego State University, is a champion of civil rights, a conservator of African-American history, and a lifelong crusader on behalf of San Diego's underrepresented communities. Mr. Brown co-founded and chaired the local chapter of the Congress of Racial Equality in 1961. Despite being arrested and jailed for protesting discriminatory hiring, he continued to challenge unfair employment and housing practices by organizing demonstrations and sit-ins throughout San Diego. His oral histories have been recorded by the Civil Rights Oral History Project of the American Folklife Center at the Library of Congress and the Smithsonian Institution's National Museum of African American History and Culture. Mr. Brown enrolled at San Diego State College on a basketball scholarship in 1953. He was president of Kappa Alpha Psi, the first black fraternity on campus, a star basketball player who also lettered in baseball, and a student council representative who challenged the discriminatory practices of fraternities and sororities. After serving in the military, he earned a degree from San Diego State University in speech and physical education, and later earned a master's degree in business administration from Fordham University. Mr. Brown worked as a teacher, a banker, and a Peace Corps officer in Lesotho, Africa, before returning to SDSU in 1971 to work in academic affairs. He established the Afro-American Studies program, led creation of its curriculum, and became its first director. He also created a certificate program in community economic development within the Fowler College of Business. This program later expanded into the Center for Community Economic Development under Mr. Brown's direction, offering classes in finance, accounting, and leadership to train professionals to develop underserved communities. He retired from SDSU in 1997, but continued as director of the center until 2004. Currently, Mr. Brown leads efforts to increase public appreciation of the importance of the civil rights movement. Through his advocacy and the donation of his own personal papers, the SDSU Library established the Harold K. Brown Civil Rights and African American Experience Collection, which preserves historical photographs, documents, and oral accounts essential to understanding the African American experience in San Diego and the United States.
I'm exceedingly pleased that the university is able to honor Mr. Harold Brown in this special way. On the recommendation of the faculty and on behalf of the Board of Trustees of the California State University, I hereby award you the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters with all the honors, rights, and privileges pertaining thereto. Congratulations, Dr. Brown. Put your citation right here.
Good morning, graduates. I know you all are looking forward to my 30-minute speech for you. So I didn't want you to get too anxious, so I really reduced it to 25. I don't think I can come up with words that would adequately express how I feel at this moment. So I will first start by thanking President Hirschman, Dean Belch, and all of those who had anything to do with thinking that I was deserving of such an honor. And when I thank Dean Belch and President Hirschman and those who have made that decision to confer this honorary degree on me, it's been often said that the best recognition that one can receive is by being recognized by one's peers. I would submit that being recognized by your alma mater and honored in this way is something that cannot be topped. So I am deeply appreciative and honored to receive this hopefully deserved honorary degree. The most important words that I can say this morning are the two words, thank you. So what I want to do is to thank Dean Gail Etmeyer, who is the Dean of the San Diego State University Library and Information Systems, for all her support. She has been and is a beloved friend and supporter, and I thank her very, very much. Now, let me publicly say thanks to my lovely and talented wife, Laverne. Of course, who without her, I would not have been able to come close to attaining the objectives that I had set in life. You know, I always wanted to be a valedictorian. And I knew I could never be a valedictorian, so I married one. I am also so very proud to have a wonderful son and a wonderful daughter-in-law, Stephen and Marisa, who are here with us this morning from San Jose. And if that isn't enough to make my head swell even more, our beautiful and talented granddaughter, McKenna, and our compassionate and loving grandson, Elijah, are here also to share this honor with Grandpa Hal. And finally, I want to give a loud, sincere thank you to my friends who are here this morning. Thank you all for your friendship and support. Throughout my life, it has been friends like you who have provided the love, caring, and support that helped me propel throughout my life. So, in spite of what my wife said to me after President Hirschman called to give me the news of the honorary degree. She said, "Oh, Harold, that is such a wonderful, culminating, life-ending honor." I quickly said, "Life-ending? I'm not leaving here yet, unless you know something I don't know." Graduates of San Diego State University, the Aztecs, have a wonderful, successful life. And remember, while you are being successful, always reach out to help others. As Booker T. Washington, an ex-slave who became one of the most celebrated educators and orators in the world, states in his book, Up from Slavery, those who are the happiest are those who do the most for others. Thank you very much.
We will now proceed to the conferral of the master's degrees. San Diego State University offers the master's degree in 78 different programs in the arts, letters and sciences, and in professional areas. Will the candidates for the master's degrees please rise and remain standing as your degree is called? The Masters of Business Administration in various concentrations. Please rise and remain standing. The Masters of Science in Business Administration with various emphases. The Masters of Science in Accountancy. And the Masters of Science in Information Systems. Mr. President, I have the honor to present the candidates who have completed the requirements for the master's degree. They have been recommended by the faculty and graduate council to receive their degrees as listed in the commencement program.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, and upon the recommendation of our distinguished faculty, I confer upon you the master's degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations, graduates. Please be seated.
Okay, we'll now proceed with the conferral of bachelor's degrees. In the Fowler College of Business, undergraduates earn the Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration in various majors. Candidates for bachelor's degrees will be presented by Dean Birch.
I am pleased to introduce the December, May, and August session candidates for bachelor's degrees in the Fowler College of Business. As I call your degree, please stand and remain standing. Bachelor's degrees in accountancy. Finance, including financial services and real estate. Management Information Systems. General Business. Management, including entrepreneurship and human resource management. Marketing, including integrated marketing and professional selling and sales management. Thank you. Please be seated.
I am delighted to recognize those students whose academic achievements have earned them honors for outstanding scholarship. Students graduating with extremely high GPAs, cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude are listed in the commencement program. You may also identify those graduates who have earned our highest academic honors, summa cum laude, by the gold honors braid worn over their robes. Will all those students who are graduating with honors, cum laude, magna cum laude, and summa cum laude please stand and be recognized? Congratulations. You may be seated.
Okay, as you can tell, you're building up to the crescendo moment here. Members of the class of 2017, as chair of the University Senate, I congratulate you on your achievement. President Hirschman, by action of the University Senate, the faculty approves and recommends awarding the degrees listed in the program. All candidates for the bachelor's degree, please rise.
By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of the California State University, and upon the recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the bachelor's degree with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. It is with great pleasure I present this diploma to symbolize the awarding of bachelor's degrees to the graduating class of the Fowler College of Business. Congratulations. Now it is my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Jonathan Heitzhusen, who has earned the distinction of Outstanding Graduate. Now you're good.
Thank you, President Hirschman, Provost Inwameka, Dr. Bober Michelle, and Dean Belch. On behalf of the class of 2017, I am proud to accept this diploma and bid a grateful farewell to San Diego State University. Thank you.
Please be seated. I think you can see why this is, for me, the best day of the year, a day of pride and celebration. I hope that each of you will embrace the joy of this day and give thanks to those who have supported you. You've accomplished much, and we are very proud of you. I wish for each graduate today what I wish for my own adult children. I hope that you'll continue to learn and to grow, that you'll laugh and love, that you'll embrace a noble purpose, and that ultimately you will develop to be the person you hope to be. Now, I recognize that some of you may feel uncertainty at this point. It is perfectly natural. Every day of your life will bring new and unexpected situations. I can, however, assure you that no matter the twists and turns of the future, you are prepared. You've accomplished much here, and you have the capacity to learn and to grow and to meet challenges that we cannot even envision today. Now, as your life and career develop, we hope you will return often to your university, to your roots. We will most assuredly welcome you back. You graduate today with our affection and our respect, and we are deeply honored to have shared a part of your life and grateful for the part that you've played in the life of this great university. Congratulations, graduates.
One of the finest recognitions is to be selected from one school as the outstanding graduate at the undergraduate and graduate levels. In turn, these students select the most influential faculty member of their academic career. This reciprocal recognition is greatly respected. Let me introduce you to these fine graduates and the professors they have chosen. Please remain standing and hold your applause until all are introduced, starting with the outstanding undergraduate students. Valedictorian Jonathan Heitzhusen and Daniel McGinley, professor. From accounting, Nzali So and Dr. Yan Luo. From general business, Ryan Storman and Dr. Stefano Gubalini. From finance, Corey Jacob Richard and Dr. Januz Janasia. From management, Taylor Ann Flores and Dr. Valerie Alexandra. From Management Information Systems, Ashley Yuang and Dr. Theophilus Otto. From Marketing, Nilufar Sharia Ari and Dr. Lindy Cornelius. Continuing on with the outstanding graduate students, from Master of Science in Accountancy, Ryan Waltermere and Dr. Steve Gill. From Masters of Science in Information Systems, Jessica Whitney and Dr. Murray Jennings. From Masters of Science in Business Administration with a concentration in Financial and Tax Planning, Wong Duan and Dr. Thomas Warshauer. From Masters of Business Administration, Sean Cochran and Dr. Bruce Reinig. We now ask all the parents and families of these outstanding graduates to rise and share this recognition. Please be seated. I am now pleased to introduce you to San Diego State University Associated Students President, Ms. Jamie Lee Miller.
Congratulations, class of 2017. Woo! This is truly an honor to stand before you and congratulate you as you close one chapter of your life and continue upon life's journey ahead. Before I begin, I want to thank my family, friends, and the mentors who have stood by me and supported me. College would not have been the same without you all. Recently, people have kept asking me why I decided to come to San Diego State. And when I think back upon it, I know that the reason why I came here was a tangible feeling of community on this campus that even visitors could feel. After 4 years here, I can confidently say that it is that same feeling that I will always remember and that will keep me connected to this university as an alumni. Our time at this university has been some of the most memorable. It has been filled with laughter, challenges, Trujillo stops to get you through those challenges, but most importantly, the people who are there with you to share it all. Something that I've come to appreciate about this university is the catchphrase of leadership starts here. Every day I come to this campus, I am grateful for the high caliber of students that I am surrounded by. SDSU empowers students to undergo a personal and professional transformation and encourages them to truly find themselves for perhaps the first time in their lives. We have all come so far, and today we celebrate this milestone together. Take a moment to look to your left and to your right. Reminisce on some of your most memorable experiences and enjoy the company that you are surrounded by. Relish in this moment and never forget it. The relationships that you have built and the struggles that you have fought through are only a testament to your strength and your ability to achieve goals that you have set out for yourself. Being one of the most competitive cohorts to come through San Diego State, I know that I'm speaking to a room filled with future leaders of the world. We have continued to raise the bar for future students, and we have left our legacy as a class that strives for success and that is never satisfied with complacency. I may be biased, but I truly believe that there is a reason that the now Fowler College of Business was the college that was selected to receive the largest philanthropic donation that this university has ever received. We are a group of individuals that has proven that SDSU is a force to be reckoned with as our graduates enter the workforce and compete with graduates of other world-renowned universities. I hope that you all never forget all that SDSU has given to you, and you each find a special way to give back to the future of this university. Congratulations, class of 2017, and go Aztecs!
Thank you, Jamie. I am now very pleased to introduce your SDSU Alumni Association representative, Mr. Michael Culley.
Thank you. Wow. You guys are a good-looking group. Okay, so on behalf of the more than 300,000 alumni here at San Diego State University, I am very pleased to welcome you to the alumni family. You guys did it! We are Aztec proud of you and thrilled to recognize your accomplishment. Now, as you make the move from student to alumni, we invite you to remain close to San Diego State University. Come back for homecoming, volunteer at an event on campus, or be a mentor in our mentorship program. Your support is critical to the university's future. Whatever your successes may take you, you are always going to be an Aztec for life. Congratulations, you guys. So it's now my pleasure to take a moment and acknowledge that this year your class, the class of 2017, has left an unprecedented legacy. More than 4,000 of you have donated to support current and future students. You raised over $50,000 and have secured an endowment that will provide lifelong support. We want to take a moment and recognize you for making that difference. Donors, you have been given a distinguished cord, it looks like this, kind of red and white, to wear on this very special day. So will those of you wearing this cord please stand up and be recognized? That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you for helping students achieve their dreams. Congratulations, San Diego State alumni. I love saying that. Be Aztec proud. All right, let's all stand now for the singing of the alma mater, led by Mr. Tug Watson. You can find the words on page 4 of your commencement program. Tug.
Hail Montezuma, we with loyal hearts our homage pay, proud working and glorying in the spirit of the Aztec name. To thee, San Diego, and the fond traditions old and new, a tribute raise of lasting praise and steadfast faith. Hail Montezuma.
Please be seated. Now we have a very special presentation to commemorate the exciting events of the past year. What a great review of the experiences our graduates have had over the past year. I would now like to thank our President's Party, who will depart to prepare for the next ceremony. We would now like to individually recognize each of our graduates from the Fowler College of Business. Earning a college degree takes years of hard work, sacrifice, and dedication. Please join them in sharing the joy of walking across the stage to pick up the recognition of that achievement. Out of respect for your fellow graduates and their families, please remain for the entire ceremony. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. William Fallon and Dr. Charles Garing, who will introduce each of our graduates.
Saturday morning.
Jamie Lee Miller, magna cum laude, distinction in the major. Alexander Shapiro.
Patty Massengale.
The outstanding graduate summa cum laude distinction in the major, Taylor Ann Flores.
Ashley Quinn Hong, outstanding graduate, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
David Jonathan Hitzhusen, outstanding graduate summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Corey Jacob Richard, outstanding graduate, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Nilu Shayari, outstanding graduate, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Spencer Laprath.
Inzali So Han, outstanding graduate, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Patrick Chenthethon.
Miranda Brown.
Stefan Haranek.
Stephen Betcher.
Dakota Sheets.
Chase Crow.
Adam Marston.
Brian Rothenberg.
Esteban Aldana Jr.
Carla Byrne.
Anthony Rodriguez.
Tess Wadley.
Christina Shiskowski.
Ava Girin.
Nicole Gone.
Karina Baeza.
Matthew Rivera.
Ashley Salinas.
Brian Nattison.
Raynell John Molinas.
Eric James Bradford, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Corey Wadstrom.
Jeffrey Risting.
Lexine O'Dish.
Taylor Misson.
John De La Cruz.
Brandon Lungpasut.
Alex Arambidi.
Cyrus Emil Farai, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Kevin Chambers.
Jacob Ori.
Peter Jordan.
Cassandra Perick.
Courtney Dunn.
Luke Radcliffe.
Across the stage.
Kodak Black.
Priya Katyal.
Melanie Kitsky.
Ellen Rex.
Chantel Bonham.
Summer Schreiner.
Travis James Carter, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Emily Shuk Wan Chan, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Selena Sihakun.
Michelle Clausing.
Jacqueline Doe.
Avery Durko.
Erica Edge.
Lauren Lavasser.
Maria Somo.
Taylor Clifton.
Lynn Larson.
Ricardo Maldonado.
Brittany Martindale.
Kelly Wynn.
Thomas Pacheco.
Alaris Velasquez.
Alexandra Maivo, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Alyssa Bergman.
Jacob Ruff.
Sibone Salgado.
Brooke Hannah Rosenberg.
Priscilla Durain.
Gabrielle Rose Cohen.
Michelle Perchovich.
Kendra Green.
Chandler Awalt.
Lindsay Fox.
Ronald Avery Rast.
Sierra Georgitsis.
Stefan Voitzwinkler Jr.
Derek Cohen.
Luke Hutchison.
Adrian Raygoza.
Tony Beck.
Darren Evans.
What's that say?
Alyssa Bonsbach.
Briggs Atkinson.
Tim DeWeese.
Jessica Luna.
Evan Hibbard.
Boo Chow.
Ivana Alvarez.
Efren Munoz.
Mariela Frias.
Louis Glover.
Alexis Ramos.
Haley Brienne Enriquez.
Cooper Abrams.
Tatiana Dueck.
Madeline Quinn.
Jacqueline Foreman.
Rachel Rodriguez.
Anissa Medina.
Francesco Canella.
Serene Awad.
L.U. Figueroa.
Cameron Hoffman.
Julia Buencamino.
Dante Burnett.
Serena Chen.
Olivia Nicolette Ong, cum laude distinction in the major.
Ashley Flynn.
Andrea Ingalls.
Nicholas Oppenlander.
Mitchell Winters.
Michael Hayes.
Alex Fleming.
Nikta Farbudi.
Stefano Paez.
Christopher Kim.
Lindsay Pegueros.
Regine Valise.
Laura Sangserino.
Paige Elise Severson, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Jeffrey Banks.
Clayton Bishop.
Jordan Maharaj.
Sarah Falk.
Samuel Guido Nyblom, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Benjamin Borsgaard.
Harry Kendall.
Gerardo Maldonado.
Eric Johnson.
Christina Peterson.
Ron Mockamer.
Dominic Padua.
Christina Watanabe.
Arvin Sosa Yazdan.
Mackenzie Hill.
Ryan Bull.
Emily Deborah Ann Kaiserauer, cum laude distinction in the major.
Brandon Bloom.
Anna Figueroa.
Andrea Hernandez.
Sean Nakabayashi.
Nicole Diengson.
Katie Guevara.
Linda Tran.
Mohammed Al-Bahiti.
Yuri Han.
Andrew Salvatin.
Mudzeli.
Chuni Wu.
Melissa Blanco.
Alex Watson.
Savannah Chefke.
Kelsey Kratz.
Gal Berkman.
Sophie Stanley.
Marissa Camarda.
Marissa Farney.
Claudia Mariana Garza.
Alejandra Garcia Gomez.
Tiffany Kenyon.
Nayeli Rosales.
Jasmine De Leon.
Megan Kersey.
Haley O'Driscoll.
Allison Michelle Pearson.
Erica Lorenz.
Markela Vlaho Yanis.
Abigail Lewin Cobb.
Maisie Mora, cum laude distinction in the major.
Anna Robles.
Kayla Williams.
Marshall Schachtel.
Jonathan Gutierrez.
Morgan Rabota.
Mark Ignacio.
Blake Rogers.
Trevor Farrow.
Alana Brady.
Sierra Skelly.
Kendra Smith.
Rachel Marie Reiser, magna cum laude distinction in the major.
Monica Mixer.
Taylor Malkin.
Nina Bruno.
Kelsey Dolby.
Sierra or Sienna? Sierra Simon.
Janie Lee.
Scott Santos.
Tyler Thomas.
Ryan Burns.
Samantha Pileman.
Drew Morris.
Blake Harlan Knoxheim.
Daniel Johnston.
Michael Wallach.
Teek Schweitzer.
Daniel Vogt.
Jeffrey Spradlin.
Allison Ricker.
Guadalupe Ruiz.
Christian Pierre Jury.
Kelly Chen.
Fernanda Martinez.
Rafael Tapia Bravo.
Grace Ben Gurel.
Xiaowei Li.
Stephanie Peach.
Jenny Chu.
Austin Griffin.
Kristen Noel Kim, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Alexi Fumani.
Adley Brisebois.
Brianna Marie Garcia, cum laude.
David Cormandel.
Shailene Martin.
Joseph Dunkel.
Matt Bell.
Jacob Langenwalter.
Antone Testa.
Josh Skolnick.
Joey Leifer.
Matthew Levitt.
Nicole Krasnov, magna cum laude distinction in the major.
Danielle Grills.
Alyssa Sled.
Zachary Fox.
Christopher Perry.
Brandon Reed Martinez, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Ian Biley.
Brooke O'Brien.
Jake Freeman.
Courtney Oliver.
Drew Solomon.
Natalie Quijada.
Savannah Gemperly.
Samantha Jade Chalani.
Christopher Stetzer.
Abigail Sogg.
Robert Paolella.
Jacob Perrin.
Simmer Kaur.
Joshua Wazan.
Skylar Furjuel.
Eric Skoblar.
Nicole Thomason.
David McCutcheon.
Danny Thomason.
Lauren Bolger.
Christopher Nguyen.
Emma Richmond.
Nicolas Emmer.
Leah Metz.
Samantha Griffin.
Jack Griffin.
Connor Stevens.
James Abels.
Andrew Alvarado.
How do you say that?
Michael Sherrod.
Andrew Stevens.
Emiliano Bonanno.
Lindsay Fitz Stansel.
Chelsea Minton.
Anna West.
Lauren Fisher.
Cabot Taylor.
Webb?
Taylor Webb.
Lauren Duarty.
Michelle Lodini.
Charlene Nogoy.
Savannah Montgomery.
Anna Marie Lolio, cum laude.
Juliana Zambetti, cum laude.
Daniel D'Alessio.
Shelby Hammer.
Delaney Olguin.
Emerson Red.
Samson Mayall.
Scott Hoover.
Alyssa Young.
Jake McCoy Rubendahl.
Natalie Pease.
April Flores.
Skylar Mason.
Tonawongo? What?
Bencion Wellner.
China Taunaunga Diaz.
Sahar Amini.
From the School of Management, Michael Austin Cabolas.
Madison Joe Lang.
Jessica Pearson.
Cole Kennedy.
Virgil Lou Carrages, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Kyle Small.
Montel Anderson.
Madison Owning.
Joseph Richardson.
Darylyn Holmes.
Natalie Alabel.
Jackson Bear.
Brandon Canup.
Justin Nelson.
Josh Thomas.
Jonathan Teen.
Okada?
Luke Okada.
Wessam Torani.
Sophie Enquist.
Hasiel Hernandez.
Joanne Braden.
John Kang.
Carlo Didio.
Heather Michelle Callum, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Ulysses Barocco.
Patrick Ferry.
Alicia Ruelas.
Maria Meave.
Maritza Eugenia Hernandez, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Jenny Doe.
Michael Henricks.
Georgia Sklavenitis.
Riyadh Jennings.
Nevada Parsons.
Elena Vladimirovna, student, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Shihab Hamad.
Bradley B. Smith.
Pierce Urban.
CJ O'Brien.
Mikhail Mirza.
Victoria Varhybak.
Remy Nicole Downs.
And go.
Michelle Catherine Silver.
Janelle O'Keefe.
Alexandra Morales.
Miranda Stump.
Nicholas Foz.
Ariel Hilsenbeck.
Miranda Grace McGinley.
Jedediah Stallings.
Josue Baltazar.
Tyler Gardetto.
Brock Creasy.
Peter Jasko.
Joshua Polson.
Vincent Doan.
Kenneth Gonzalez.
Mary Jane Magdalena Galvez, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Yoniv Fischel.
Dakota Scapitulo.
Jacqueline Barajas.
Alyssa Delorier.
Paul Sullivan.
Sarah Christ.
Alyssa Moreno.
Alyssa Lorenzo.
Jasmine Rubalcava, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Yafa Kimmons.
Martin Polis.
Henry Ortiguera.
Nathan Buenaventura.
Nico Wells.
Sam Lee.
Blaze Gizlo.
Brendan Bosgard IV.
Jessica Manguel.
Nicholas Burns.
Desiree Campos Darby.
Harrison Cooksley.
Olivia Hen.
Katrina Barrage.
Shane Whip.
Megan Schaefer.
Brooke Mariah Wilson.
Cody Avila.
Gina Abigail Barragan.
Sean Vesey.
Taewon Kim.
Armin Girgosian.
Derek Diesenuts.
Travis Pied.
Andrew Plant.
Addison Baker.
Layla Jaffe.
Amanda Meckenstock.
Amber Bright.
Taylor Rose Pompahogan, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Olivia Tomic.
Ellie Hutchinson.
Vic Hernandez.
Munira Zahir.
Neil Palmer.
Michael Palomaria.
Cooper Lopez.
Connor Jacobs.
1, 2.
Dima Yuhana, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Perla Lay.
Nasim Kazrai.
Louise Morrissey.
Michelle Zora.
Anson Sam Hun.
Nilofar Yekta.
Vince Ulrich.
Andres Ortiz.
Lucia Diaz.
Valeria Loera.
Angela Moss.
Isa Maria Cortez.
Rochelle Awayo.
Samantha Luz Garcia.
Samantha Data.
Isaiah Royos.
Bruce Gilmore.
Jared Dillon.
Anthony Milo.
Ian Trainer.
Gabriel Hernandez.
Stephen Mirioka.
Kiana Kramer.
Diana Jabbar.
James Rodriguez.
Nathan Patrick.
Krista Reimer.
Nico Califato.
Victoria Ransom.
Caitlin Idem.
Quinn Fan.
Melissa Gonzalez.
Jessica Sandoval.
Taylor Carter.
Cheyenne Dominic Ciotti, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Ashley Inojos.
Heather Sully Fromer, cum laude.
Alessa Salido.
Giuseppe Georgis.
Remington Lee Burke, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Hayden William Shenfield.
Emma Louise Anderson, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Cheyenne Shahangian.
Keaton Lash.
Cameron Cooper.
Lindsay Jones.
Lorena Chavez.
Johnny Wang.
Darwin Wilson.
Nico Enciso.
Dustin Michael Berberaby.
Claudia Plasencio.
Adam Gargas.
Ruby Brown.
Wyatt Gina.
Hilda Chang.
Crystal Reed.
Alexander Richards.
Connor McClelland.
Spencer Herson.
Terrelyn Wan.
Kenneth Livingston.
Trevor McCoy.
Rafael Sixtos.
Cara Susvia.
Elon Elkabetz.
Kaylee Christensen.
Angela Nigro.
Evine Cano.
Celeste Ethington.
Katarina Held.
Miriam Bachuri.
Scott Semmel.
Johanna Graham.
Olivia Larson.
Kyle Schmidt.
Ivana Arias.
Hedda Regefolk.
Abril Aguayo.
Janelle Lowe.
Rodrigo de la Huerta Meza.
Royce Kilby.
Alexis Lizbeth Figueroa.
Monica Villegas.
Justin Chua.
Brian Reyes.
Kendall Kang.
Sylvia Ma.
Dustin Norris.
Anthony Porperato.
Ryan Scott Fuller.
Alexander James Dunn.
Ryan Buchanan.
Joanne Moran.
Guillermina Santana.
Ileana Romero.
Vanessa Valdivia.
Sandy Gonzalez.
Chibe Chen.
Xiaoyu Tang.
Dan Wang.
Shinlin Du.
Sean Carter.
Kun Lee.
Joshua Vield.
Michael Genkars.
Allison Korba.
Trang Nguyen Lee.
Jeffrey Summit.
Adam Armalea.
Anais Garcia.
Melissa Leyendecker.
Keem Krisafi.
David Songa.
Eleni Larks.
Chris Guglielmucci.
Stephanie Metcalf.
Mike Hawk.
What's that last name?
Hendrik Jebbins.
Gustavo Romero.
Rihanna Cooey.
Amber Worthylake.
Joshua Sullivan.
Tawny Marie Grant, summa cum laude distinction in the major.
Sean Moses.
Priscilla Lee.
James Spicer.
Jeffrey Bouchot.
Alicia Flugum.
Daniel Monroy.
Fassig?
Matthew Fassig, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Jesus Calderon Aguilera.
Diana Castro.
Shelby Kilmer.
Patricia Castro.
Danny Wynn.
Naomi Salazar.
Jasmine Ramirez.
Sarah Schutzky Navarro.
Brianna Marie Nichols.
Guadalupe Valerio.
Norman Pajarine.
Eric Chavez.
Cute Van.
Santa Lupercio.
Alma Basilio.
Pranav Palasamudram.
Thomas DeFranco.
Brianna Del Castillo.
James Toomey.
Marissa Tomavansa.
Diana Johnson.
Sandra Guida.
Nicholas Garrett.
Justin James.
Brando Pena.
Jose Robles.
Teresa Karina Zarate.
Ruby Garcia.
Peter Aguilar.
Jessica Roque.
Daniel Jacob Gregory, cum laude distinction in the major.
Patricia Fernandez.
Alexander Doan.
Long Wang,
Hong Pham,
Michael Milstead,
John Ramos,
Ivan Deniz,
Susan Flores,
Jacob Deschamps,
Crystal Marie Ignacio,
Julia Kahealane Kinoshita, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Francis Banyanya,
Jonel Vidana,
Edan Bardo,
Jose Hernandez,
Travis Allen,
Noemi Aguiar,
Eric Polonsky,
Blake Chesley,
Richard Boyne,
Andrew Rogers,
Jonathan Dennis Torres Torreguezo,
Tanner Stell,
Justin Warner,
Jake Frank,
Michael David Duran, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Gary Stentiford,
Bin Feng,
Karan Rishanyan,
Kyle Peterson,
Anthony Luis Armijo,
Justin Kevalitis,
Michael Brabs,
Christopher Avila,
Matthew Pugdananen,
Darian De Leon,
Mario Piedra,
Armando Hernandez Jr.,
Don Huang,
Alex Engberg,
John Nguyen,
Stephen Tran,
Tujer Tao,
Wee Nguyen,
Vicente Diaz,
Mark Jason Ayana,
ZQ Wu,
Jishong Shun,
Joshua Baltazar,
Adrian Ivan Cabrera,
Alexis Rodriguez Bassa,
Arnel Zapata,
Valdemir Warlick,
Ian Francis Palestrino Vere,
Michael Golden Tran,
Jessica Elaine Nareed D,
Vanessa Tang,
Naveed Charzard,
Joseph Voers,
Lauren Michelle Kaufleisch, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Mohammed Jawad,
Kimberly Glenn,
Allison Curler,
Jacob Ojavo,
Devin Huey King cum laude,
Michael Tran,
Alexander Gomez,
Cecilia Iniguez,
Chelsea Parker,
Kitka Lai,
Lexi Carlton,
Sean Alexander Wells, cum laude,
Nicholas Thomas Hurst,
Maxwell Holland,
Vrij Patel,
Christopher Ignazito,
Ryan Breard,
Kylie King,
from the School of General Business, Andre Houston,
Brenda Quinteros,
Perry Fischler,
Ivan Gonzalez,
Brandon Seitz.
Angela Elizabeth Urizar, Weber Honors College.
Kelsey Lake.
Zachary Cooper.
Rafaela Young, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Saba Lack.
Gabriella Wall.
Helena Karimitari.
Mina Yaldo.
Jennifer Ibrahim.
Yasmin Abbas.
Sally Yadago.
Sarah Glazer.
Emma Borgerding.
Adriana Loza.
Firdos Abduwali Isse.
Madison Ortega.
Joshua Rodriguez.
Shanti Spezzano.
Leanna Landingen, cum laude.
Lily Hatte.
Jordy Lopez.
Maurilio Russo.
Filippo Bedin.
Christopher Sin.
Kelsey Shower.
Nicole Morrow.
Josephine Barlow.
Alexandra Gruber.
Clarice Saluta.
Sanam Mustashari.
Beige Rivera, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Ahmed Mohammed.
Chelsea Fraser, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Nicholas Chisholm.
Tristan Youngin.
Alyssa Green.
Alex Austin.
Carla Lopez.
Pauline Ortiz.
Alex Good.
Miguel Jimenez Jr., magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Angel Salazar.
Saul Perez.
Jose Luis Perez.
Oscar Flores.
Gilberto Pinedo.
Jaime Ramos Esparza.
Brandon Means.
Revon Tamaru.
Daniela Lopez Garcia.
Andre Papas.
Alexa Saba.
Kaylani Fight.
Caitlin Orduno.
Brooke Person.
Alex Thomas Bradley.
Katie Sylvester.
Nicole Severia Ragusa, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
With a major in finance. Joanne Lasme.
Dina Sakat.
Corey Yee.
Kenny Chen.
Logan Swan.
John Runkle.
Matthew Abel.
Lily Su.
Maylene Chen.
Yunan Jin.
Zihang Su.
Loyao Zhang.
Guahong Fan.
Alexander Cole.
Zach Rosenberg.
Marlon Massey.
Matthew Dalton.
James Rannon.
Amani Al-Ghassani.
Jackie Elena Hernandez.
Chad Bemis.
Salvador Librado Aguilar.
Hami Tran.
Monica Flores.
Michael Liu.
Peter Bieber.
Tony Tran.
Mason Brusso.
Alexander Prohl.
Jessica Mason.
Roberto Carlos Carcamo.
Jasmine Nograles.
Yohao Jia, cum laude distinction in the major.
Jen Chai Chen.
Zhengyong Huang.
Bonnie Bon.
Lucy Dow.
Yaroslav I. Katkov.
Victoria Zakhanova.
Ksenia Ribeiro.
Isaac Cardoza.
Ryan Kimes.
Thomas Michael Seaman.
Andrew Garcia.
Tyler Scott.
Ruhil Hamid.
Josh Massey.
Jamie Jabalona.
Colton Wandke.
Erica Carter.
Benjamin Clancy.
Timothy Vu.
Tiffany Nicole Reza, cum laude.
Kirsten Uptain.
Brianna Nakasone.
Jessica Eberhardt.
Kyle Watson.
Gabrielle Palfi.
Ryan Walls.
Dylan Kiota.
Taylor Gauthier.
Ashley Brill.
Raul Posadas.
Eduardo Tovar.
Firas Altabtavahi.
Nick Mendiola.
Omar Ramirez.
Mackenzie Meng.
Zach.
What's that say?
Cody. Cody Babineau.
John Mays.
Kimberly Fornaka.
Jake Bracken.
Mark Lavecchio.
Alex Martinez.
Ryan Brobst.
Michael Aaron Kostakovsky, cum laude distinction in the major.
David Estrin.
Stephen Weinberg.
Jay Kill.
Estrada. Jesse Estrada.
Brandon Rexius.
Blake Thompson.
Danny Leckman.
Connor Bingham.
Mark Ikelowicz.
Drake Williams.
Catherine Sue.
Weston Robert Dean.
DJ Villegas.
Michael Benador.
Chi Feng Su.
Devin Busk.
Zachary Borsick.
Milad Hasibi.
Matthew Schott.
Hunter Padilla.
Brian DeVera.
Christopher Ontiveros.
Tate Harmon.
Abdallah Al-Hassoun.
Maya Albata.
Justina Waters.
Janae Rapola.
Gadal Al-Kadim.
Michael Devonkar.
Garrett Hath.
Jeff Quanstrom.
Abdul Rahman Al-Jahad.
Thomas Roach.
Tony Mario Romeri, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Stephen Evanson.
Alexander Oberg-Wood.
Michael Gottman.
John Thrall.
Ryan Peterson.
Jeff Martin.
Michaela Hertian.
Kimberly Dominguez.
Zachary Summerfield.
Andrew Rothschild.
Patrick Mulrooney.
Caleb Ransom.
Matt Mosich.
Brian Peacock.
Brian Wilkinson.
Trevor LaHose, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Frederick Ugerhoj.
Grant Klasna.
Felicia King.
Jonas Minzer, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Eric Kearney.
Anna Karen Godinez.
Tram Lee.
Jennifer Payne.
Mylen Huerta.
Elia Kraus.
Nick Dezaki.
Christina Barfel.
Mesem Ardestani.
Vincent Edward Milo, cum laude.
Alexis Christina Nunez Cruz.
Lena Hoopsher.
Luis Alfredo Cardenas.
Jeremy Wacker.
Filomeno Ponce.
Tim Platts.
Ali or Alec?
Alec Lawrence.
Christopher Sanchez.
Micah Fluhart.
Emily Arvia.
Catherine Andrews.
Jessica Marie Schreiner.
Cole Ferguson.
Andrew William Painter.
Utana Mdadi.
Youssef Alessa.
Faisal Al-Ghafari.
Anthony Elias.
Meng Li Wu.
Pramika Iam.
Caitlin Faye Daniels.
Vincent Campbell.
Madeline Berg, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Eva Brusco.
David Slayton.
Araz Stepanian.
Brandon Morgan Williams.
Nick Thoriot.
Brian Rodriguez.
Omra Singh Kinda.
Manroop Kaur Badwal.
Jose Rodriguez.
Edward Quadro.
Austin Leong.
Alexi Musaran.
Ryan Navarro.
Harry Spillman.
Savannah Spears.
Jay Chandler.
Brent Husa.
Lindsay Girth.
Reem Jamae.
Aziz Abelkail.
Austin Kane.
Alfonso Barajas.
Cody Nye.
Philip Chinotai.
Brandon Lee, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Derek Wright.
Stephen Porter, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Andres Torres.
Cole Simons.
Alec Joseph Brown, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Matthias Munoz.
Sebastian Estrella.
David Alexander.
Dane Anthony Brzezinski, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Ryan Tosto.
Tanner Franklin.
Lauren Riley.
Tommy Avila.
Alexander Mercado.
Gina Palucci.
Kengo Atsuka.
Andre Toluca.
Oliver Sivane.
Alex Gamboa.
Madison Lieberman.
Sarah Sandell.
Julie Ahmed.
Mark Cruz.
Coley Davis.
Kent Wells.
Patrick O'Connor.
Theni Wijaja, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Elizabeth Meferia.
Aura Lynn Desprez, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Christian Mikhail.
Parker Vance.
Derek Zapalak.
How do you say your last name?
Catherine Vareljan.
Isabel Magana.
Lauren Sia.
Jennifer Owen, cum laude.
Alexis Danielle Harm, magna cum laude, distinction in the major, Weber Honors College.
Ryan Stahl.
Bernardo Maria Paterniti, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Jesse Monroy.
Javier Rolon.
James Grande.
Derek Andrew Lakowski, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Tori McSkimming, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Is that okay?
Michael Merrim, summa cum laude.
Elias Castro.
Maria Hocut.
Daniel Rich.
Oscar Delgado.
James Shangwei Lu.
Rodney Kevin Lafaya, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Anthony Amador.
Jigar Patel.
Grant Brust.
Matthew Charles McLaughlin.
John Escudero.
Sabria Niles.
Hillary Veronica Clark, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Desiree Jenkins.
Trent Hullen.
Dalton Wins.
Megan Weatherby.
Nick LeBeau.
William Pham.
Sandra Haraz.
Myra Sanchez.
Rachel Rosie.
Coral Lee Ortiz, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Shannon Flanagan Smith, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Emmanuel Castro Ortiz, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Lillian Nissan.
Daniel Yun.
Samuel Craven.
Jesus Alberto Castillo, cum laude.
Gary Fingerman.
Tony Fan.
School of Accountancy. Eva Mendoza Cavedo.
Joshua Nathanson.
Afra Algerthi.
Gerald Ali Salsas.
Benigno Caro Lopez, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Aquila Popal.
Corey Sushio.
Andy Miller.
Brandon Hill.
Ricardo Padilla.
Jesse Rodrigo Briones Hagen, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Andrew Walker.
Noel Lovegren.
Sandra Siha.
Christian Domeyer.
J.R. Montez.
Joselle Camila Rodriguez.
Zong Pham.
Yidan Tang.
Teresa Lan Pham.
Celeste Monet Scott.
Mai Hung Nguyen.
Jason Pomosa Ogbidi.
Terry Marie Wright.
Faras Salama.
Tamim Al Turki.
Sadir Sahib.
Mina Abdul Jabbar.
Ragad Enja.
Neri Sami Maroki.
Michael Al-Ramu.
Hussam Toma.
Charles O'Brien.
Jose Velez.
Kayla Solano.
Antonio Mixquill.
Jimmy Wynn.
Yuki Dome Golden.
Cooper DeGraw.
Trevor Christensen.
Brianna Catherine Smith, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Andreas Torres.
Chen Shi.
Laura Caro.
Phi Viet Tran.
Matthew Vocal.
Rubina Norwala.
Sorav Sanyal.
Martin Gabriel.
Catherine Gabriel.
Sarah Merrim.
Marta Anaí Panuelas.
Isabella Rusconi.
Dylan Stewart.
Kyle Barris.
Kaylee Ugadu. Weber Honors College.
Ann M. Noack, magna cum laude, distinction in the major, Weber Honors College.
Courtney Ann Brockman, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Edna Donay Bryant.
Tatiana Mazyakova.
Cindy Lamb.
Fiona Jane John, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Douglas Shaw.
Allison Tager.
Linda Sinainisai.
Eileen Deng.
Wei Jin Huang.
Ismael Estrada.
Walter Gonzalez.
Crisel Joy Quinto.
Jimmy Moe.
Kyle Jeffrey Menton.
Joseph Martinez.
Zhaojia Sun.
Rachel Liu.
Yiji Yu.
Jessica Lee.
Ming Chan.
Tyler Carroll.
Yu Ding.
Mitchell King.
Blake Aguirre.
Joseph Gober.
Roger Bardalis.
Mana Elia.
Catherine Gutmanis-Burian.
Marcus Birmingham.
Kevin Zinkowski.
Timothy James Hewson.
Kevin Liu.
Randon Yi Fong.
Joyce Arlene Brito.
Monica Munoz.
Jennifer Irani Kivari.
Tori Itatani.
Marina Delkova.
Kan Vo.
Hua Huang.
Kimmy Ho.
Ton Nguyen.
Karen Flores.
Stephanie Anaya.
Erhao Gao.
Nicole Tuttle.
Matthew Covert.
Noor Bangyo.
William Bryant.
Kevin Vung.
David Lamb.
Johnny Padilla.
Sapana Mao.
Arna Charlene Ramirez.
Diana Tapia.
Annabelle Cayazo.
Abdallah Abdi.
Callie Corbell.
Orit Mayal Holmberg.
Muhammad Ali.
Ruben Emilio Martinez.
Karishma Gandhi.
Emily Tiu Nguyen, summa cum laude.
Andrew Beakley.
Rochelle Nicole Allen.
Dennis Pacheni.
Brian Wong, cum laude.
Owen McCollum.
Nishit Kurani.
Ryan Wheeler.
Kirsten Skelton.
Benjamin Crandall.
Eric Para.
Baldev Shokar, magna cum laude distinction in the major.
Stephanie Wynn.
Benjamin Pierce.
What's that say?
Blanca Frosto Felix, magna cum laude distinction in the major.
Drew Cass.
Jennifer Rappaport.
Annie Lamb.
Samantha Santos.
Anthony Benjamin DePaz.
Tori James Ford.
Jackie Lamb.
Megan Anderson.
Sarah Englehart.
James Kenny.
Van Chong.
Kana Matsura Brock, cum laude distinction in the major.
Diego Torres.
Robert Bullard.
Christopher Van Ostrand.
Jackson Marble.
Maura Young.
Eric Verduzco.
Louis Calderon.
Eric Anthony Ramos Castillo.
Ivan Ponce.
Andrew Herrera.
Alexa Foster.
Haciel Luna.
Daniel Bowie, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Chloe Ann Prout.
Kalina Dang, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Robin Matthews.
Alicia Morales.
Armand Kalustov, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Brian Nguyen.
Bright Ayako, Weber's Honors College.
Eva Lati.
Kelly Avery.
Michael Zuniga.
Ruby Perez.
Vivian Davis.
Stephanie Vu.
Shireen Lou Verata.
Aikani Higa.
Hudoki Ichadi.
Jake Gafford.
Ramon Guzman.
Jaime Fernando Valeslegui.
Jacqueline Guzman.
Sarah Diaz.
Eric Socia.
Anthony Thompson.
Brenda Harvey.
Allison Nicole Feldman, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Matthew Winsby.
Natasha Scott.
Kylie Dessel, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Edgar Fierro.
Austin James Harris.
Ivan Wong.
Guadalupe Ayun.
Roberto Martinez.
Alan Hilantu.
Stephen Lyons.
Bu Chow.
Carlos Bustamante. Ryan Waltermeyer.
Jessica Whitney. Hung Duan.
Amir Tayebian.
Ansel Raj.
Chelsea Wen.
Vishal Dandia.
Kanika Sharma.
Krishna Patel.
How do you say your name?
Siddhi Shah.
Gaurav Gade.
Pratik Tekrewal.
How do you say your name?
Hussein Jawadwala.
Manjay Ray.
How do you say your name?
Elaine Liu.
Hui Yu.
Come back.
Yang Gu.
Sunny Kim.
Okay. Can you say your name for me?
Sushma Nagapuluram.
Priyanka Kumar.
Sarita Singh.
How do you say your last name? Sharab?
Kumar Shurab.
Celine Pujol.
Lindsay Wright.
Christopher Weber.
Jason Yusipchuk.
Matthew Hadley.
Smitha Kulkarni.
Andrew Peters.
Shivam Sharna.
How do you say your name?
Sunil Dudi.
Shenyu Guo.
Landy Ye Choi.
Ayaka Nagasaki. What?
Ayaka Nagasaki.
Shunhao Chen.
Si Shu.
Linjon Song.
Wenjun Zhu.
Yichen Liu.
Tirat Sinkarin.
Siyu Dong.
David Martinez.
Dan Delgado.
Michael Lynch.
Jared Else.
Catherine Boyles.
Shikhar Gupta.
Ryan Lim.
Vineet Nalawadi.
Bhushan Fadnis.
Parth Kotnis.
Praveen Yadov.
Melanie Dattani.
Harsh Bangad.
Carissa Brown.
Jeremy Juleton.
Kylie Yu.
Veronica von Borstel.
Shengnan Huang.
Renee Claire Merrill.
Chuning Yang.
Rupam Das.
Sami Tasawi.
Baiju Joy.
Catherine Worm.
David Cheville.
Yoon Hee Chung.
Jennifer Kreuter.
Nancy Tran.
Christina Tran.
Vipul Singh.
Jose Bustamante.
Chulwook Kim.
Min Pham.
Julie Jenkins.
Brianne Bellevue.
Annie Fan.
Julia Morlock.
Connie Wanlin Gong.
Adam Shaban.
Rajdeep Suhas Ashtikar.
Rohit Raj.
Ahmad Zoheb Faroz Zaratar.
Christopher Kotnitz.
Arman Ergun.
Gage Pollard.
Justicia Joseph.
Pooja Borbura.
Spencer Thornton.
Oh, that's a G. Yes, sorry.
Frederick Gelbrick.
Brandon Anthony Arias.
Ching Yi Triyi Hung.
Robin Podani.
Jenna Lynn Crosswaite, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Kylie Michelle Capps, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Eduardo Rene Kwan, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Carolyn Therese Keating, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Ariane Ahimsa.
Malcolm Lloyd Shearer, summa cum laude, distinction in the major.
Jennifer Azabov.
Serena Panchani.
Tyler Spencer.
Santosh Joyce.
Jennifer Candy, magna cum laude, distinction in the major.
Lauren Koenig.
Jinyan Shen.
Kyle Cloney.
Christy Lee.
Brooke Maderos.
Christina Eichinger.
Lindsay Hill.
Kevin Ernst.
Andrew Oshinsky.
David Rubinson.
James Gareth Lodge.
Grace McLean.
Shannon Elizabeth Knight.
Michaela Casey.
Xiyan Zhang.
Lu Min Zhao.
Shui Zhan.
Ilana Kobernick.
Shu Su.
Mayara Menkini.
Vanessa Strachey.
Chanel McNutt.
Alexander Wolfgang Hoffman.
Karen Tran.
Heather Homestead.
Iris Hogue.
Tommy Coffey.
Jacqueline Kuma.
Eileen Hand.
Justin Maletic.
Daniel Calvo.
Bochao Ju.
Junchang Tang.
Hoiching Zhang.
Sel Chen.
Cezanne Lia.
Leo.
Jared Conrad.
Kendall Bear.
Stephen Courtney.
Tejas Rao.
Michael Klepper.
Dmitry Kutsenko.
Jeff Hinshaw.
Samir Kanade.
Peiwan Liu.
Randall Yang.
Clarence Chang.
Sai Perez.
Javanshir Azmi, cum laude, distinction in the major.
William Zachary Worthen.
Titiaporn Hivenlap.
Brian Lee Horton, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Emmeline Oyusheng.
Ting Chow.
Kayla King.
Joyce Du.
Alexandra Elsesser.
Alexis Christine Dodenhoff, cum laude, distinction in the major.
Chi Shu.
Chien Ting Cheng.
Shenyu Tai.
Bingqi Duan.
Darshit Takar.
Kenrick Wong.
Supapong Chunharas.
Lucas Kleinman.
Roy Gillespie.
David Hart.
Jennifer Adalja.
Ricardo Tambarel.
Gregory Brown. Suchi Gupta.
Shristi Chaitri.
It's my pleasure to bring back to the podium our outstanding graduate, Mr. Jonathan Hitzhusen, who will lead the class of 2017 in the tassel change ceremony.
Thank you, Dr. Belch, and thank you to my beautiful wife, Desiree. I couldn't have done it without you, and I love you very much. And above all, a supreme thank you to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. To his name and his name alone be all glory, honor, power, and praise forever and ever, for there is no other name given among men by which we can be saved. Now, fellow bachelor's degree candidates, please stand. It is customary at this time for all candidates to move their tassels from the right side to the left, symbolizing the moment of graduation. Please join me now. Thank you. Please be seated.
First of all, I would like to point out that this is the first graduating class of the newly named Fowler College of Business. which was in October received the largest philanthropic gift in the history of San Diego State University. So that gift came in recognition of the great job we do and you do in the classroom. Today you join the large and talented group of SDSU business alumni who have distinguished themselves as leaders in their field and have fueled the region's economy. Know that you will always be part of our family and that we are very proud of each and every one of you and will enthusiastically follow your success. These commencement ceremonies are now concluded. However, please join us for reception, post-reception ceremonies and receptions. Accountancy, information systems, and general business graduates and their families will meet at the Fowler Athletic Center Hall of Fame. Management, marketing, and finance graduates and their families will meet at the Parma Payne Goodall Alumni Center Ballroom. Graduates will have the opportunity to introduce their families to faculty members, take pictures, and celebrate prior to leaving campus. Graduates, please remain seated until your marshal requests your row to rise and recess. Guests of the graduates will proceed to the upper exits. And again, a heartfelt congratulations on your achievement and best of luck to all of you.